Okay, so in the last video, we created a music player game object and we added a background music to our game, right? So let's see, right here. Cool. But as you can see or hear, there are no sound effects when the UFO grabs the gold pieces, right? So we will take care of that right now. So in this video, we're going to start looking at scripts and C#. They just follow along, and I'll be doing things step by step without going too much into detail. There are a lot of great resources on Unity and C# in general on the Unity website and on YouTube, so I highly encourage you to get into those if you have time. So from this point on, we're going to be using a little bit of C#, and if you are very new to coding, don't worry, just copy along the things I'm doing and just follow the steps, and you'll see, and you'll be doing things that pretty much work for me. And from there on, you can do a little bit more research, and it will be a starting point for you to discover deeper how you want to manipulate and implement and manage things, okay? So that said, first thing to do is to go to the assets here, and then in our audio folder, I added already the sound effect that we'll be using, and it's called Pieces Clip. And then that's the preview of it. Cool. So if you go back to the assets folder, the script that we'll be using from now on, or where all our information will be manipulated and implemented, is this one, the complete player controller. Now we'll be adding few lines of codes and then working with the game object, with the player game object here, and connecting all those things together, right? So if we go to the player game object, we will see that the complete player controller script is here in the game object. And we have to, let's add an audio source, okay? All right, and then I'm using Visual Studio for the scripts. So if we go, okay, so again, okay, so I have Visual Studio open here, and again, just follow along in the video, and then type in public audio source, okay, and then, okay, so here is the function, like around this section. This, and what's really great about this game is that it has information on what every single line of code is doing. So on trigger enter is a function, and it's called whenever this object overlaps with a trigger collider. So in this case, our object is the player, and whenever it overlaps the gold pieces, it will do something, right? So in this case, it will do all these tasks, let's say, that are being told in order. And then we also we can just write comments, play sound when UFO hits gold pieces, right? So we name the audio source. So we go source dot play. Let's see if that works first. You always want to make sure you save whatever you did, and once this saves, okay, then you will see that in the player game object, okay, it's thinking a little bit, you will see that because you wrote public, you will find another option here for an audio source. So the audio source that we added before, what I want you guys to do is just grab it and drag it here. Okay, player audio source. So once that is done, what we want to do, like the last video, we'll go to assets, audio, and then, oops, go again to the player. And here, pieces clip, I want you guys to put it in here in the audio clip, and yeah, let's see if that works. Oh, I want you guys to uncheck the play on awake, because if we press play, if that is checked, then the sound will just trigger, and we don't want that. We want the UFO to trigger that sound when the gold piece is taken, right? So Cool. So as you can see, yep, our UFO is making sounds when he's collecting the gold pieces. Cool. So now a quick recap. We added 2 lines of code. Public audio source, this one, in the beginning, and on the second line of code that we added was source.play under this function, which is on trigger enter 2D. Okay. And lastly, don't forget also in the player game object, okay, we added an audio source. We dragged the sound, the audio clip in here, and we also dragged the audio source into the source here. So I think those are 3 steps. So in the next video, we will also work with sound effects, but now we will make the UFO make a sound when it hits the edges of the level. Okay?